My wife left for Tulum on a Thursday. By Sunday, I had a divorce attorney on retainer. She doesn't know it yet. She's still posting Instagram stories from the resort, cocktails by the pool, sunset yoga on the beach. Meanwhile, I'm back home with a folder full of evidence that's going to end our marriage. I'm 36. I run the service department at a Chevy dealership outside Atlanta. Been there 11 years. Started as a tech, worked my way up. I pull about 135 a year with bonuses. Good money for what I do. My wife's a dental hygienist. She works at a practice in Marietta. Makes around 65. Between the two of us, we do all right. Nice house in Kennesaw. Vacation once a year if we plan ahead. The kind of life where you're not stressing about bills, but you're not buying boats either. We met 4 years ago at a Braves game. My coworker had extra tickets. She came with a girl from his wife's gym. We sat next to each other, got to talking, started dating that week. Married about a year later. We did the courthouse thing. We kept saying we would do a real wedding eventually. That never happened. Looking back, that should have told me something. She wasn't interested in building a future. She was just waiting for something better. First couple years were solid. We bought a house together, 3 bedrooms in Kennesaw, both our names on the mortgage. That's gonna matter later. She wanted to wait on kids, said she wasn't ready, said we had plenty of time. I didn't push it. Figured she knew what she wanted. Looking back, there were signs. She never wanted to talk about the future. I would bring up stuff like where we'd be in 10 years, maybe having kids, retirement. She would change the subject every time. I thought she was just living in the moment. Turns out, she wasn't planning a future with me at all. She was waiting for a better option. The girls' trip started year 2. Her college friends. Once a year at first. Long weekend in Miami. I didn't think nothing of it. Everybody needs time with their people. But once a year turned into twice, then 3 times. Then there was always something. Wine weekend up in Dahlonega. Beach trip to Panama City. Bachelorette party for some girl I never met. I added it up once. She was gone at least 5 weeks a year. I said something about it. She got all defensive and called me insecure. Said her friends' husbands didn't have a problem with it. So I let it go. Here's what I didn't know. About 18 months into our marriage, my wife met somebody. She was at some dental conference in Austin. Continuing education thing, she claimed it was. Met him at the hotel bar. He was a tech CEO, 44 years old, worth something like $5 million. Married with 2 kids back in Texas. None of that stopped either of them. They started talking and texting, then meeting up whenever they could. He traveled all the time for work, different cities every week. She would tell me she was going somewhere with the girls. Then she would fly to wherever he was, Austin, Miami, and sometimes New York. And I would be home thinking my wife was having margaritas with her college friends. For 18 months, every girl's trip was a cover. She would tell her friends one story, then tell me another. They had a whole system worked out. I was paying for her flights to go sleep with another man, but I had no clue. This trip was supposed to be Tulum, 5 days. Her college crew. She asked me for $2,000 for her share. I didn't question it. Kissed her goodbye on the morning she left. Told her to have fun. She said she'd call when she landed. Said she loved me. They were all lies. By that night, something felt off. I didn't hear a peep out of her. At 2:30 in the morning, I got a message. Service is terrible here at the resort. Love you. That's all I got. Something about it didn't sit right. But I let it go. I went back to sleep. Friday, I'm at work, scrolling Instagram onto my lunch. Her friend posts a story. Beach photo. 4 women with drinks. I recognize all of them. Her whole crew. But my wife isn't in the picture. I look again. I check every face. She's not there. I check the location tag. Destin, Florida. Not Tulum. Destin. 3 hours from Atlanta. Her friends are not in Mexico, and neither is she. I called her friend, the one who posted the story. I made it sound like I was just checking to see how much fun they were having. I asked how Tulum was treating them. She got really quiet. Then she told me they were not in Tulum. They changed plans last minute, went to Destin instead. I asked where my wife was. Then there was a slight pause. She said my wife told them she couldn't make it. Something came up with work, but my wife told me she was going to Tulum with them, and she told them she wasn't coming at all. She lied to everybody, which meant she was somewhere she didn't want anyone knowing about. I pulled up our joint credit card, Chase Sapphire we both use. No charges in Mexico, nothing in Tulum, but there was a charge from that morning. Ritz-Carlton, Amelia Island, Florida, $412, posted at 9 a.m. While I was at work dealing with a warranty claim, my wife was charging breakfast at some resort I never heard of. I called the hotel, said I was trying to reach a guest, gave them her name. They said they couldn't confirm whether anyone by that name was staying there. It was their privacy policy. I tried her maiden name, same answer. But that told me something. If she wasn't there at all, they'd just say no guest by that name. The fact that they wouldn't confirm or deny meant she was probably there. I thanked them and hung up. I sat at my desk for a few minutes, thinking. Part of me wanted to pretend I never saw none of this. Just go about my day, let her come home, never bring it up. Some guys do that. They would rather have the lie than deal with the truth. I ain't that guy. Never been. I told my boss I had a family emergency. He didn't ask questions. I looked rough, got in my truck. Amelia Island's about 5 hours from Atlanta. I made it in 4. Didn't stop for food. Didn't stop for gas till I had to. Just drove. When I got to the hotel, I parked and walked into the lobby. Went straight to the bar area. Sat down where I could see the elevators and the front entrance. Ordered a drink I didn't touch, and I waited. About 40 minutes later, I saw her. She came out of the elevator with some guy, gray at the temples. They were laughing about something. His hand was actually on her ass. They didn't see me. They walked right past the bar toward the restaurant. I got up and followed them. I caught up to them right before the hostess stand, tapped her on the shoulder. She turned around. She screamed so loud, a few people looked around to see what was going on. The guy looked confused at first, like I was some stranger interrupting his dinner plans. Then he looked at my wife's face. Then he knew. My wife started saying my name, asking what I was doing there, like I was the one who needed to explain myself. The guy took a step back. He didn't say nothing, just stood there looking like he wanted to disappear. I didn't say much either, just looked at her. I told her, don't come home. Then I turned around and walked out of the restaurant. She chased me through the lobby, calling my name, saying it wasn't like that. Her and some guy about to have dinner, his hand on her ass. But sure, it wasn't like that. I kept walking, got in my truck and drove home. 5 hours, alone, no music. Didn't call nobody, just drove. Somewhere around Valdosta I had to pull over. I was shaking so bad it was hard to drive. Sat in a gas station parking lot for 20 minutes, just breathing. I wasn't sad, not yet. That came later, right then. I was angry. The kind of angry that's quiet. The kind that makes plans. Here's where most guys screw up. They confront, they yell, they make threats. Then they go home and do nothing. Meanwhile, the wife calls a lawyer, files first, controls the whole story, takes the house, takes half of everything, and he's paying alimony while she's still seeing the other guy. I wasn't going to be that guy. I got home around midnight. I didn't sleep, started looking stuff up. Georgia ain't a no-fault only state. That's important. Some states don't matter why the marriage ended. California, New York, don't matter if she cheated. Assets get split. Alimony gets calculated. Everybody moves on. But Georgia's different. You can file on fault grounds. Adultery is one of 13 grounds they recognize. And here's the part that matters. Under Georgia law, if you prove adultery caused the breakup, the court can bar the cheating spouse from getting alimony, not reduce it, deny it completely. But you got to prove the cheating is why you're getting divorced. In my case, that was easy. I literally caught her in a hotel with another man. That's about as clear as it gets. My wife made $65 a year. I made $135. Without proof of adultery, I'm probably looking at $1,200-1,500 a month in spousal support, maybe more for years, but with proof, she gets nothing. So I needed proof, not just what I saw at the hotel. Any lawyer could try spinning that. I needed documentation, anything I could get a hold of, the kind of evidence that don't leave no room for doubt. Monday morning, I called a lawyer, woman named Patricia, been doing family law for 25 years, told her what happened. She said, first thing I got to do is not change the locks on the house. That surprised me. She said, in Georgia, you can't lock your spouse out of a jointly owned home without a court order. Don't matter what they did. The house is in both names. She's got a legal right to be there. If I change the locks, it could hurt my case. She said what I should do is stay in the house and let my wife figure out where she's going to stay. Most cheaters don't want to come back and face you anyway. She was right about that. The next thing I did was hire a private investigator. My attorney referred me to him, ex-cop, had his own shop in Marietta, $3,000 just to get started. I gave him a cashier's check that day, gave him everything I had, the credit card charge. I told him about the confrontation with her at the hotel, the Instagram story that blew it all up, timeline of every girl's trip she took in the past 2 years. He said he would have something within a week. He had it in 4 days. When I went to pick up the report, he had a folder about an inch thick. He said he has seen a lot of these over the years, said mine was one of the more organized affairs he has come across. They had routines and patterns, almost like a second relationship running right alongside ours. He said the ones that go this long usually get that way. They get comfortable, stop being careful. That's how they get caught. The guy at the hotel, tech CEO out of Austin, worth about $5 million. Remember, he is married with 2 kids. My wife has been seeing him for 18 months, since that conference in Austin. I gave the private investigator permission to pull phone records, cross-referenced locations, built out a timeline, every girl's trip for the past year and a half. She would tell her friends she couldn't make it, tell me she was going with them, then meet him wherever he was. Over 3,000 texts between them, hundreds of calls, but the real find was the email account. She had a secret Gmail, only used it to talk to him. My PI found it through a data broker. These companies scrape info from apps and websites. They collect email addresses tied to phone numbers. But this trick cost me extra money, but it was absolutely worth it. The email spelled out everything, explicit stuff I am not going to get into, but also logistics, dates, flight confirmations, hotel bookings, and one email that changed everything, dated about 2 months before I caught her. She wrote that she was planning to leave me, but not yet. She wanted to wait a while longer. She wrote that she wanted to secure as much as possible from the divorce. Then she would be free to be with him. Her exact words. This wasn't just an affair, it was an exit strategy. She was running out the clock, trying to build up more assets to split, and I was the one paying for it. Every mortgage payment, every trip I thought she was taking with friends, every dinner out. I was bankrolling her exit plan the whole time. Now here's where it gets interesting. Her rich boyfriend, the $5 million CEO, he had no plans to leave his wife. My wife thought she was trading up, thought she'd take what she could from me and ride off with him. She was wrong. He was using her the same way she was using me, just for different reasons. She was going to lose everything for a man who was never going to pick her. She just didn't know it yet. My wife flew back to Atlanta 3 days after I caught her, tried to come home. I was sitting in the living room when she walked in. She started with the apologies, the crying, saying she could explain, saying it wasn't what I thought, saying she loved me. I let her talk, but the whole time I was shaking my head. Then I told her I have already spoken to a lawyer, told her I already hired a private investigator, told her I knew about the emails. She just put her face in her hands. I told her she could stay in the guest room till we figured out the next steps, but we were done. She moved out 2 days later. I filed in Cobb County based on adultery. Patricia laid out the case, said we had more than enough to prove the affair caused the separation, said alimony was off the table, but she warned me about the house. See, here's the thing about Georgia. Adultery bars alimony, but it doesn't bar property division. The house is marital property. Both our names on it. Doesn't matter what she did. She still gets her share of the equity. That's how the law works. Patricia said the judge might give me a slightly bigger share because of the circumstances, but it wasn't going to be some windfall. I had to accept that. Her lawyer came in swinging anyway, asked for more than half the house equity, half of my retirement, $1,500 a month in alimony for 3 years. I did the math in my head. That's $54,000 for a woman who spent 18 months in another man's hotel room doing God knows what. My lawyer didn't argue, just opened the folder, put the evidence on the table, hotel receipts from multiple weekends, phone records, the emails, including the one about securing as much as possible from the divorce. Her lawyer's whole demeanor changed. My wife started crying, not sad crying, scared crying. She knew what she was looking at. Every lie documented, every trip accounted for. There was no spinning this. Her lawyer asked for a break. They were gone an hour. I sat there with Patricia. She said this was the part where reality sets in. Said most people don't realize how bad their position is till they see it all laid out. Said my wife was probably losing it right now. She was right. When they came back, my wife's eyes were red. Her lawyer looked tired. Everything changed after that. She dropped the alimony request, dropped the claim on my retirement, just wanted her half of the house equity and out, because she knew what happens if this goes to trial. Everything becomes public record. Her family finds out all the details. Her job finds out, and his wife definitely finds out. She was cornered. We settled in August, 4 months from the day I caught her. Here's what happened with the house. We sold it, split the equity. After realtor fees and what we still owed, we each walked away with about $28,000. She got her own 401k, about $35,000. I kept mine, about $90,000. No alimony. Georgia Code Section 19-6-1. Adultery bars spousal support when it caused the separation. She walked away with maybe $60,000 total after 3 years of marriage, after planning to take me for everything she could, $60,000. But I wasn't done. Her rich boyfriend thought he could mess around with someone's wife for 18 months and walk away clean. He thought wrong. I didn't call him, didn't threaten him. I wrote a letter to his wife, detailed timeline, selected evidence, sent it certified mail so there'd be a record she got it. Let her draw her own conclusions. 3 months later, she filed. Texas is a community property state. Everything gets split 50-50. He's about to lose almost $3 million because he thought actions don't got consequences. 6 months since the divorce was finalized, I'm renting an apartment in Woodstock, 2 bedrooms. No memories of her in these walls. That's worth something. My ex actually moved to Douglasville. The dental practice she worked at cut her hours a few months back. Last I heard, she's picking up shifts at another office part-time, making about half what she used to. And her rich boyfriend, he stopped returning her calls the day his wife filed. She threw away her marriage For a man who ghosted her the minute things got hard. She texted me once, about a month after everything was final, said she missed me, said it was the biggest mistake of her life, asked if we could talk. I blocked her number. Once I got to the point of total indifference. It was over. She made her choices. He made his. I just made sure those choices had consequences. Some people call that revenge. I call it accountability. There's a difference. Here's what I want you to take from this. Know your state's laws. Before you need them, know if fault grounds exist. Know how adultery affects alimony. Know how property gets divided. Whose name is on what. How long you've been married. All of it matters. What seems like boring legal stuff becomes everything when you're in the middle of a divorce. Georgia saved me from paying alimony, but I still had to split the house. That's how the law works. If I'd been in California, I'd be writing her checks every month on top of losing half. Same lies, same betrayal, different state, different outcome. A few hours of research saved me $54,000 in alimony alone. Do the research and trust your gut. When something feels off, it usually is. I ignored the signs for 2 years. The trips getting more frequent. The phone always seems to be top secret when you try to get near it. The way she would leave the room for certain calls. I told myself I was being paranoid. I wasn't paranoid. I was right. She went on a girls' trip, except she wasn't going with the girls. She was going to meet a man she thought was her ticket out. $5 million. She thought she would take what she could from me and run off with him. One Instagram story blew it up. One credit card charge confirmed it. One surprise visit to the hotel ended it. She went on a girls' trip. She came back divorced, with less than she started with. And the rich boyfriend who was supposed to save her, he's losing half his money to his own wife. And my ex is alone. Pay attention to the patterns. Document everything. Do not, under any circumstances, confront without proof. Don't confront till you got what you need. And when you got it, move smart. Don't do nothing that can hurt your case. Don't change the locks. Don't drain the accounts. Don't send threatening texts. Just gather your evidence, get a good lawyer, and let the law do what it does. Be the guy who saw it coming and handled it the right way. It won't undo what happened, won't take away the betrayal, but at least you'll walk away knowing you didn't let her win. That's worth something. Tony, thanks for letting me share. Hope somebody out there needed to hear this.